Hey guys, welcome to FPM Play, and today we're gonna do our year in review. I'm here with Kieran. Hey Kieran.
Hello.
And Poppy. Hello Poppy.
What's up?
And Mr. Wood.
Hello, how's it going?
So let's get started with um our games.
You just jump right into things. You haven't said anything about we have a whole new set.
Oh yeah, we have
We're
we
we're FPM Play,
yeah, well,
and
Introductions, nothing, man.
but I did
You're
say
so
FPM
excited.
Play. I did say FPM Play.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we got a new set. I probably want to bring over my pops because
you're true.
there's a lot of Legos.
Yeah.
And if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen all my pops. I have a wall that's taller than him over there.
They can't see who him is.
Oh, my little brother.
All right.
He's like 4 feet.
So Jacob, what are we doing today?
Today, we're doing our year in review. So talking about our good things of 2017. So we're going to start off with games, if I'm correct.
Whichever has a number one on there.
Oh, we're gonna start with TV. So I'll go first. My TV is Runaways.
Let's back up a little bit again. You're kind of plowing right into this. So what we're doing in this episode is we're talking about things in 2017 that we're not necessarily saying they're the best, but they're things that resonated with us.
Yeah,
right?
not a top list.
No, we're not ordering anything.
Stuff we're gonna remember about 2017.
Things, moments, experiences within pop culture, across movies, TVs, video games, comics, that resonated with us, that left a mark, right? So this is kind of a year-end wrap-up. When you think back on 2017, top of your head, what do you think about? That's what we're doing here today. And we're starting with what, Jacob?
TV shows.
TV shows, and none bigger than...
Runaways. That's.
Oh, no, I was thinking about the other one. Sorry. Go ahead. Runaways.
So I picked Marvel's Runaways. It's this new TV show on Hulu. It's about these kids who they always hang out at their parents' parties, and one day or one night, as the parents are hanging out, they find them like killing somebody and putting them in like this tomb, like this little thing.
You cannot write a log line for a movie, man.
No.
Runaways, people that run away.
Yeah. Kids who find out their parents are evil.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
So I read the comics and I loved them. I read I read every single Runaways comic except for the most recent ones that came out, and they're amazing. I absolutely love them. I watched the first episode, and I have to admit I was kind of biased because I love the comics so much, and I expected it to be exactly like the comics. So I didn't really like it as much, but it turns out I only watched the first episode. I guess it elaborates on its newer story a little more.
You kind of have to stick with it because I think I was talking to your dad about this. I mean, we're on episode 8 at this point, and they have yet to run away.
Yeah.
But the spirit of the comics is there. I mean, the characters themselves, they've nailed them. Chase is Chase, Gert is Gert, Molly is Molly. Old Lace is in there.
Old Lace is
the only
awesome.
thing I didn't like about the characters, because I like the characters most. That's probably what I like the most about the show. But the only thing I didn't really like about them was I think Carolina. Carolina in the comics is super happy-go-lucky. Is kind of like almost like a hippie person, sort of, in that sense. Like, she's like peace for everyone, loves everyone, everything. But in this, she's like the popular chick, and she was the popular chick. But in this, she's like the kind of jerky popular chick. Like, she looks at Gert and tells her something like what are you, like, you're not popular.
Yeah,
and I feel like in the comics she never would have done that.
That's not how she is in the show either.
Yeah.
She's a religious person in the show. She's not.
No, she did say that to Gert though.
Yeah, so I think that's a moment again. If you watch past episode 1, I think you'll see that the characters are there.
Yeah.
And she is, about, because they frame it in religion that she is about, peace and love
Right.
and all that stuff. So it is different. But the core is there. And even, I don't know if you've seen Brian K. Vaughan, who is the creator of Runaways. He's an executive producer. He's on set. He's been helping out, and he absolutely adores the show. Because it is taking something that we know and love and giving it to us with a different flavor.
Yeah, and I think I kind of went into that too much, like biased toward the comics. I should have been more open.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, like they've changed a little bit. Like Molly's parents. Molly doesn't have her parents. Her parents died, but Molly used to. So there's this character named Molly, and she lives with the one of the other girls, Gert. But in the comic books, she was just with lived by herself with her other parents. But in the TV show, her parents were dead, deceased.
Or are they?
Yeah, they might not be dead. I mean, in the comic books,
Yeah, I
they're
didn't
time
understand that
travelers.
change. I didn't understand the. I mean, I'm not blowing anything by saying that there's a character that's passed away before the show starts, and that's not in the comics either. But
I
again,
mean-
I don't think that's that important. It's just.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
they
just a
might
way
have-
to explain why Nico is so sad. Because in the comics, they never.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, so let's get started on our next topic, Stranger Things season 2. This is mine.
and this is what I was referring to earlier as one of the biggest shows of the year.
Yeah.
I just recently started watching Stranger Things, but I watched season 1 and straight into season 2. So I think that kind of helped me some. But I love the show. Absolutely love the characters, love the plot line. It's amazing.
And so you guys watched season 1 and 2 kind of continuous, right?
continuous.
Like
Yeah.
one big season, yeah.
Yeah. So Jacob and I watched season 1 while we went to Comic-Con. God, it feels like forever ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it had just come out right before Comic-Con, so we watched part of season 1 on the plane there. They had just put it up on Netflix where you can download to your iPad and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we watched the rest of it on the way back. So we had a year in between season 1 and season
Yeah, I
2.
couldn't have handled that. No, I mean I like
can
it
already
because
not handle having season 3.
I like it because it's got all the 80s nostalgia, and one of the things I want to talk about later has the same kind of thing, and I think that's geared for us, but it's cool for, well, I won't say it's cool for kids, but
Well, but it's the 80s stuff is not heavy-handed at all. It's
no,
just,
you only
it's just
pick up
there.
on it because
Yeah.
we're
If
children
you're-
of the 80s,
If you're older,
if we're old.
40s.
Yes.
No.
40s and 30s.
Just old.
But yeah, I thought season 1 and season 2 worked very well together. They feel like a very complete work. I feel like season 3 is kind of, its own thing going forward. Season 1 and season 2 feels like they had this was the original idea for Stranger Things.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about Stranger Things is you don't know what's coming next. Because, like, first it was Demogorgons, but now it's the Shadow Monster. And then we don't, it's completely random. And there's no basis off of what we're going after. So we will be surprised. It's not like Marvel where we can kind of figure it out. Like, we will be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we still don't know a lot about the Upside Down yet, and all we know is the Demo Gorgons, Demo Dogs, and the Shadow Monster. I mean, if they really took this show on, they could probably make like a whole dimension show of them traveling back and forth,
Yeah.
fighting monsters.
We only have the one portal in the one town.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, there's bound to be another portal on the planet.
We also
know,
only
right?
know 2 of the people of 8 and 11. We don't know
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Well, I think,
9, 10.
and I think some of those people didn't make it, right?
Yeah, some of
Yeah.
them
Right,
did.
because I think once they got around to 8 is when they started being successful with those experiments. So they may not just be around to.
I even liked the episode with 8 where everybody hated it. I liked it.
I did too.
I don't get. I see the hate just being spewed upon number 8 that it's out of context, but
But
I like that.
it felt to me like it was important to the story of 11.
Yeah.
It was like 11 visiting the X-Men and learning how to use their
Well,
powers.
I felt it was more like Luke Skywalker going to
Right.
Dagobah to visit Yoda. I mean, that was her moment to grow and become this, become who she's going to become.
Yeah,
I don't think
almost
it would've
wish
been
they had more
believable.
of that.
To have her just show up and save the day,
Right.
because she did that in season 1.
Yeah.
So it's just not. It's not believable that she wouldn't want to go explore her past.
In season 3, they need to leave Will alone, because in season 1 he was trapped in the
He's-
Upside Down for whoever knows how long, like a few months, in like a cold, dark little forest, and then in season 2,
He has a
He
freaking
was-
shadow monster inside him.
yeah, he's possessed, and he's making art in his house, messing it up, and making a map. Like,
But I think that when you get to season 3, Will's going to be one of the most important characters on the show.
Yeah,
He's
because
gotta
he
He's
be.
knows
been
so much
connected
about.
to some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, he's connected to the Upside Down now. He knows so much.
Yeah.
Like he knew, like
He
that's how they
spits up
figured out.
demodogs.
That's how they figured out how to kill, or get the Shadow Master away. They do not like heat at all.
I've seen this discussed before too. Is how resilient Will is.
Yeah.
He's got like a super Wolverine healing factor or something.
Yeah, so I mean, think
Yeah,
about
no,
think
right?
about Will,
Seriously.
because I'm sure they'll do some type of time jump because the kids are aging and stuff. So this is going to be like a year later, year and a half later
That's
in
what they did
season
with
3,
season 2.
right?
Yeah.
And when this thing comes back, the one person that's going to stand up and not be afraid is Will.
Will, I know,
He's
right?
And
faced him down twice.
you
They get to
sure?
like season 9 and they go to college. I'm not rooming with Will.
I mean, he's not
Like,
gonna.
there's no, I'm,
He's
he's
just
gonna
gonna
do
be like laying on the
justice
bed
on it.
talking about a shadow monster.
yeah.
Like, well, you want to come to a
So
party?
where are you from?
It doesn't like.
Okay, so I think
Can
my
you turn
dad
down the
and
air?
I think my dad and Andres have their show now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you
Oh,
guys, you just.
I guess this is a preview for us. So, we've teased it before. We've said it again. We will be starting our own podcast in the new year.
Oh, I'm at the TV show.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm teasing. We want to bring him
Oh.
back.
See, he's throwing a teaser in there. It's
Mr.
organic.
Guys.
Be quiet.
So, these guys in the middle are FPM Play. Kyle, you want to let them know what we're going to be?
We are going to be Alter Ego.
Yeah, that's
Alter Ego, Pop Talk, Instagram. Yeah, just the idea that we'll talk about some of the same topics we talk about here, but we want to do it with an adult slant, and I don't know, just brainstorm like 40 names, and that's what we came up with. So there we are.
yeah. So, kind of alluding to what Karen was talking about, the next show we want to talk about was Mr. Robot, which neither one of you guys have seen, right?
Yeah, it's not
No,
appropriate for
it's
kids.
definitely not. This
Yeah.
is not a. This is where we should drop like a big card that says
Well,
like
Censored.
and what not rated or something.
Censored.
So-
Not rated.
Tag.
Mr. Robot is in season 3.
Yeah.
It tells the story of this guy named Elliot, who is this like ultra, introvert hacker guy, and he gets involved in this kind of huge plot. You almost don't want to say too much because it's.
Right.
It gets into a whole lot of spoilers, but the show is just so well written.
It's just yeah.
It's so tight. It's so interesting on so many different levels.
It's just fantastic, and I know it's gotten a lot of press from season. I think season 1 got a ton of press, and
Yeah.
it was, I think Elliot won or Christian Slater won. Not Elliot, Rami Malek or Christian Slater won.
Yeah, he won a Golden Globe
a
or
Golden Globe
something, some
Grammy
award.
or something. But season 3, it's the only show. Like when we're talking about TV shows, it's the only television show
No.
that I watch. That's it. It's the only television show that I religiously watch, and that I don't want to wait to have on demand or something.
Right. You don't want to wait to binge
Yeah,
that one.
right. So it's just really cool. You can tell that things are so woven together. I think that's why I appreciate the side episode in Stranger Things, because it does it all the time.
Yeah.
Where you can go an episode and not see the main character, and I just think that's the way life works, and I think that's more believable. Just really great stuff.
Yeah, there's the way Mr. Robot is built. You can't take it on these little individual pieces because there's so many layers
Yes.
that it's almost like a pointillism like image, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where if you look at each individual point, it's like okay, but when you pull back, I mean, it really is this complete work that works.
There's
works
entire
together.
episodes that you don't know if they even really happened.
Right.
And yeah, so if you tried to that's a great way of putting it. If you tried to analyze one episode, you'd fail miserably.
Yeah,
And I still haven't figured half of it out.
And the one thing I do appreciate from a technology perspective is all the tech on that show is real.
Yeah.
They have an expert. There was a great article in Wired magazine. They have an expert on set who actually sets up the computers to be in whatever state they need it to be, so that when they type in the real code, that what you see on the screen is all real, working in real time. It's amazing.
I do like that. They'll zoom into the screen and the actor or someone is actually typing.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's some deep cut technology stuff that the average person is just. I mean, it's just gonna blow over their heads. But
Yeah.
really good stuff. So definitely, Mr. Robot. I think a lot of people thought season 2 was down, but again, when you look at it in the context of everything, it all fits together. So great show. Please, please, please check it out.
Okay, I think we're on to games is our next category.
Yeah.
So I'll go.
Yeah, you go first.
He can too.
Yeah, I went
So
first.
I'll go first, and mine I just got into gaming like literally 2 days ago. So I literally got an Xbox for Christmas, and that's all I know about games. So the only games I got that came that I've actually played yet are Avengers, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and Overwatch. And I love Overwatch. Probably one of my favorites out of those three. and but it didn't come out in 2017. So I'm going to say Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 because of all of the cool characters and the visuals and everything is just amazing.
So I was thinking about what I said earlier, and I actually have two now. So
Of course you do.
my first, no, so I'll get the first one out because I think it'll be a shorter conversation. My first one that I just thought of is Raw Data. It is a virtual reality game. I got Oculus Rift for last Christmas. So when I got my Oculus Rift, I was really excited because I've been wanting an Oculus since I figured out what VR was. So when I got it, one of the games that I got was this game called Raw Data. And the one thing about Raw Data is it just makes you feel awesome. Like you can beat anything.
We need to post a video of you actually playing raw data. I mean, Jacob's like all over the room, like he thinks he's like a ninja because you're like a robot ninja warrior kind
Yeah,
of thing.
it's
Oh, okay.
awesome. You have like a lightsaber sword.
So why is it called raw data? What's that got to do with it?
I don't know.
I've only played it quickly, but um, I think the raw data piece is part of the storyline and
No.
how the technology is very raw and something like that. Um, but the game itself looks pretty cool. It's like I think it's kind of like a wave shooter.
Yeah.
You pretty much stay in one little area and things are coming at you and you're kind
Okay.
of dealing with
And
it.
and the game's always updating. Like we bought the game before it came out, so when it fully released, like one of the big things that happened was they released PvP. They released
Player versus player.
yeah PvP, player versus player. They released new levels and more upgrades. Cause how it goes is how it keeps you locked on the game is you play one level and then you get more stuff for your character, and then you play another level, and then you get more stuff.
That's the replay. You're talking about the replayability. How
Yeah.
they keep you coming back.
So
Yeah.
I maxed out my character, my ninja character. So I have like two swords now. I can like use the force and like pick up people like with my hand and like crush them and like throw them away. I can what else can I do?
Is there just one character, just a ninja?
No, there's like a guy with like pistols. There's
Oh,
a guy with there's this for some reason there's like an old senior with a bow. He wears like this green hoodie and stuff, and then he has like a technology bow, like cause it's like this little stick, and then when you grab it, it's like a hologram of an arrow pops
Yeah, yeah.
up.
Oh.
You're like, oh,
Like
it's,
Yondu.
You know,
yeah, it's weird.
and VR had a very good 2017, but I honestly think 2018 is going to be the year that people notice VR.
Yeah, cause now VR is like you can get VR on your like home computer, cause Oculus has made it possible.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things that happened was the price drop.
Yeah.
Right, the headset originally when it came out, I mean, you're looking at $800 for like
Yeah.
the headset and the controllers,
$1,000 for the
and then you
computer.
got to have a pretty hefty PC. By the end of the year, you can pick up an Oculus headset with the touch controllers for $350. I mean, that's a huge drop in price just for the VR hardware. Still needed the computer. 2018, you're looking at wireless VR, which is going to be huge, using inside-out tracking, right? So the tracking comes from the headset itself.
Yeah.
And then standalone, where you don't need a computer; it's all built in. So that's the evolution, and I mean, from looking at where we are now with games like Raw Data, 2018 and going into 2019, I think it's going to be ridiculous for VR.
Yeah, like one of the going back to that movie, no, the book that's going to be a movie,
Ready Player One.
yeah, Ready Player One. The one thing that I always searched for was a game like the Oasis, and I found one. Like it's called VR Chat. It's really cool. All these cool things that you can do. Anyways, so when I found that, I realized that VR is already all the way up there. So now I'm excited to see what can happen next year.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Oh wait, oh yeah, my other one. My
You gotta make
other
this one
game
quick.
is Forza Horizon 3.
Oh, great game.
Forza Horizon 3 is one of my favorite games just because when we got it, who got it? Alex or me?
I think Alex is the car guy. He loves it.
Yeah, my brother loves cars, so he got Forza Horizon 3. And what we did was he's one of those sandbox players, so he doesn't really upgrade stuff. And he's now hit like level 200 because he's just been driving and playing the game so much. I'm still on like level 90 or 70.
Yeah,
So
I think I'm in the 50s.
yeah, so I've been playing it that much.
But so Forza Horizon 3 should be 1-to-1 with every Xbox console. That game is
Was an
that
option.
good. Yeah.
So I'm gonna continue playing the noob, and
Yep.
and go back and ask the newbie question. So, is this like Gran Turismo?
No. No.
Okay.
So uh what the game is basically you are rich because you have to be probably rich to do this in real life. So you're rich and you run a festival in Australia,
Okay.
and it's
Like a
racing,
speedball challenge thing.
like a it's like a racing festival.
Yeah.
So you start out with one car and you actually race through your festival. So
Okay. Yeah.
so you do races and and as you play more you expand your festival and get new cars. So at the end of the day, once you finish like all your races, there's still gonna be popping up. There's still gonna have races that you come back and do, because when you do races you earn XP, money, and sometimes other cars.
So
Yeah.
I'm not just racing the car. I'm throwing festivals
Yeah.
to
So
earn money.
so let
to
me take a
race
step
cars.
back here. So Gran Turismo is a kind of hardcore racing simulator.
Yeah.
This is an open world arcade racer.
I mean, this is a sandbox. So like one of my favorite things to
It-
do is
It's set in Australia. So and all the different types of terrain you have in Australia.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things to do is, me and my brother, we get hypercars like Lamborghinis, and I have a Porsche in the game. So we take our fastest hypercars, and at the airport, it's just like a strip, like there's nothing there, and then there's this big mount. There's like this big like sand dune. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called? With a
big
big
sand-
mountain of sand.
It's a
Yeah.
sand dune.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, sand dune. So when you go like we hit like 300 miles per hour, like 400, and we hit the jump, and you like go flying in the air, like it's huge.
Okay.
Like you can see the whole map, and then
But do you earn XP doing stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, you
yeah.
earn-
Okay.
yeah.
Nope. Yep. So,
So-
you'll
Cool.
get experience from pretty much everything. There's so much to do in this game. It's ridiculous. It has some of the coolest DLC. One of them is called Blizzard Mountain, where it's all in the snow.
My
Yeah.
favorite is Hot Wheels.
The Hot Wheels, where you're on the orange Hot Wheels track. The whole world is Hot Wheels. The game is so much fun,
Cool.
and it's great for all ages.
I think
That's-
the Hot
that's a-
Wheels must have been what was with Xboxes over Christmas or something.
Yeah, it was Forza Horizon 3 with the Hot Wheels DLC
'Cause I saw the orange
included.
track
Yeah,
stuff, yeah.
Okay, so let's get on to the next one. I have no clue what this is, so you guys are gonna have to fill me in on this. It's called Cuphead.
Yes, Cuphead
Cuphead.
is
Frustrating.
it is frustrating.
It's an app, right?
It's a game on Xbox.
Oh.
The hype on this game has been going on for like 3 years.
The first one that they put out was Cuphead. It was the big thing about this. People were excited because Cuphead was the game also looked like you were like playing like early Mickey Mouse, like you were.
It's like a
you were-
1930s cartoon is what it looks like.
Okay.
The graphics are beautiful. The story is these two like Cup brothers.
They're actually cups.
They're actually Cup. One of them has a cup head, and I can't remember what the other guy's name is.
Mugman.
Mugman. So it's a cup and a mug, and they go to like a Las Vegas casino. They're,
And they meet the devil,
And-
like literally the devil, because
Yeah.
the devil runs a casino.
Sure.
A lot
Yeah,
of this
so-
is like
so-
figurative though.
so that they're winning, and then they hit a losing streak, and they make a deal with the devil, and the devil's like, all right, if you go do all these tasks for me, then you can get your souls back or whatever. So they go on these missions for the devil, but at the same time they're trying to figure out how to get out of this pact with him. But the
Oh, that's right.
the
Sure.
graphics are amazing. It's a beautiful game. There's these intricate boss battles. You can play two-player co-op, which I love co-op games.
Yeah.
It's just it's a game that has been teased every year for 3 years, and it lived up to the hype. It's just amazing, and it's only $20, and it goes on sale all the time, even cheaper than that. So, highly recommend Cuphead.
Yeah, since we're talking about
Sounds cool.
games, right now, go buy your games because it's the end of year sale on Xbox and I think PS4 too.
Right now.
And Steam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now. So
Literally.
go buy it.
Keep
I
watching the
got,
video though, 'cause
yeah,
we need
keep watching the
views.
video. Like, if you have a Google phone, just AirPlay it on the side and then go to PS4 and stuff. Anyways, they have I bought Ghost Recon for only $20.
$28
Yeah,
for the deluxe
$28.
edition. Normally like $80.
Yeah, so yeah, go buy your games right now.
All right, what's next?
Next is movies.
Movies.
This is probably what I was making my list before, and this was before we had the categories. So everything's movies, and I had TV show, which was Stranger Things. It was like movie, Stranger Things movie. So I think we're gonna have a lot of talk on this topic. We really love the MCU, and the MCU has some amazing movies this year, such as like Thor Ragnarok and Spider-Man: Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It was amazing.
One
So,
of the
Let's just
biggest-
top on this.
yeah,
talk
one
on
of-
this.
one of the biggest things that the MCU dropped this year was the Infinity War trailer.
Sure.
Well,
And Black Panther.
And yeah, exactly. Black Panther broke the internet. Infinity War broke the internet. I think the biggest thing that you see coming out of 2017 is this Marvel train is still going super strong,
Yeah.
and they're not getting stale. Right? I mean, Spider-Man: Homecoming was a very unique. It was the Spider-Man movie that we all needed and deserved. It's the teenage Spider-Man movie that we wanted. Thor Ragnarok was. I mean, they just let Taika do whatever he wanted. And, a lot of people argue there's not a lot of depth to that movie. That's fine, right? I mean, we're like 15, 17 movies in at this point. You got to have some diversity. That is a fun, surface-level, beautiful-looking movie. It's just a good time in the movie theater, and they took a chance with that, and I think they hit it out.
And then Guardians, this is my probably favorite part of any of the 2017 MCU movies. We got new characters, and it was so bright and funny, and it still had a story, which is what I loved.
Yeah.
But I really loved that we got to see the classic Guardians in the movie, and I feel like everyone was rumoring that Sly Stallone would be
Starhawk.
Stakar Gord, and no one believed it, and then he actually was, and then we also got we got Charlie 27, we got Martin X, we got Aletta, we got Mainframe, which is Miley Cyrus, which doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Miley
So-
Cyrus was Mainframe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it was still amazing, and I love to see them, even if it was just a peek. And also the fact that the director James Gunn
James Gunn, yep.
was talking about that they might make a Ravagers movie, which was about the
original
original
Guardians?
Guardians.
Yeah,
He
so
kind of hinted at it.
yeah, because
So old.
we've all seen all these. We've seen all of the
Starhawk.
yeah, we've seen all of the Guardians so far, all of the old Guardians, and we saw what you call it. So
Yeah.
we saw Yondu and how he is. So we might see how he got his mohawk, or it just might stay that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. I don't see it happen. I mean,
Well, I mean,
I don't either, but I think it would be awesome.
they did say Volume 3 was going to be the last Guardians movie.
with
With
this
this
lineup,
roster.
yeah.
I don't understand going backwards. I don't know. I'm just more of a Marvel purist than that, and they're from the future. They shouldn't be old. They should be not born yet.
Right.
So
right.
I don't like that. I
I
don't think
mean,
it's necessary.
It
I don't
could-
think Yondu's entire character is necessary to the story. But
Well,
it could have been anybody else.
One of the things that
But it's fine.
One of the things that I'm expecting from Infinity War is once Infinity War is over, there's gonna be a lot of changes. Like how when Secret War ended, we got all these new characters.
Yeah.
And the differences, like Iron Man changed into a black woman, and we got Iron Man
And Doctor Doom.
Yeah, Doctor Doom changed too.
I think the most exciting thing is Marvel has been building up to what we see as Infinity War this whole time, right? Thanos was teased at the end of the first Avengers. It really does feel like this is a line in the sand, complete package from the first Iron Man to Avengers 4. Boom, that's one big story we try to tell. Everything from that point on, I mean, it could be all over the place. I really don't think it's going to be linear anymore.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be, hey, we want to tell a story here, we want to tell a story here, and it's all connected. And I mean, that's exciting. To me, that's exciting.
Yeah, I can see there being more trilogies, but like maybe there'll be a Black Panther trilogy or something like that. But it doesn't make sense for them to try to tackle something over a 10-year span.
Right, right, right.
It's just too tough. It's just too tough, and it doesn't need to be. And they'll have more freedom
Yeah.
if they don't do that. And now with the growing roster of characters that they just
And-
acquired too,
And I still
it's
think
just too tough.
I still think you can tackle something at that Infinity War level if you do um, the Secret Invasion with the scrolls.
Yeah.
Right. You can be all over the map as far as time. You can have a movie in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, current day, whatever. They don't. It doesn't have to be one linear story as far as the release dates like we're doing now. And then you drop an Avengers Secret Invasion, and you show how all of these movies from all different eras and times are connected.
Okay, so let's get on to our next one. I think this is kind of a double topic. We're talking about Wonder Woman and the DCEU because they kind of exploded in 2017,
Yeah,
whether in
In
a good
opposite
way or a
directions.
bad way.
I think it was a good way.
It depends on which movie we're talking about. Because didn't Suicide Squad come out in 2017 too?
No, that was last
No,
year.
it's last year.
Okay, so
was-
we got Wonder Woman and Justice League
That's
this
it.
year for
Yep.
DCEU, and I loved Wonder Woman. Didn't quite love Justice League.
I love Justice League. I thought it was a good movie. Seeing about how they had all these problems with the Cyborg and Aquaman and Flash. I thought it was good for the problems that they had and how they fixed it.
So you thought it was good considering.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the same with me too. Considering that
it's a DC movie.
Considering that DC is epically screwed up in the past, I think they did the best they could with what time they chose. Because honestly, I feel like they should have pushed Justice League way farther out. But since they chose this time, and without half the characters being in movies yet, they still decided to do it. I think for the time and for a DCEU movie, it was a good movie.
Well, we've seen all these characters before, barely though. Like we've seen Cyborg, we've seen Flash,
We saw videos of them for like 2 minutes.
and then we also saw Flash in Suicide Squad.
Right.
Wonder Woman was definitely a bright spot. I don't know if I love that movie as much as everybody else did.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
What?
No.
It had good moments.
Right. It had lots of problems.
But yeah, exactly. It was.
Like what though?
I felt like the ending was very bland.
It was weird. She fought that guy for like
Yeah, I
20
agree.
minutes.
Yeah, I didn't like what they did with Ares. The no man's land scene where she's going through that. I mean, that's a cool
was
looking
cool.
scene. I did like that. I liked some of the characters' interaction. I liked the fact that it was in World War One, and I liked some of the world building with Themyscira and stuff.
Right.
But that movie just kind of went up and then just fell off for me. Like
So, I kind of, I don't, I wanted, I would argue that I would put Wonder Woman on the list and not put DCU on the list of things that I will remember
Definitely.
fondly, but because it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And we did need, as a male, we all need a female superhero.
Oh.
And I know that Gal Gadot was, I don't remember when they released when she was going to be Wonder Woman. It's been quite a while.
It's been a while.
Lots of criticism from the female community
Yeah.
of Gal Gadot being Wonder Woman because she's not a big Amazonian looking woman. I actually think that's a good thing for females because you don't have to be a big Amazon woman to be a superhero.
Right.
I would argue that Superman doesn't need to be a super hulking dude either because he's an alien. How does he have muscles? What does he lift that gains him muscles?
I know, right?
Let's talk about that. But anyway, so
Let's not
the
talk
fact
about
that Wonder Woman was a woman who carried her own movie and did much better than they expected it is why I would remember it and put it on the list.
Yeah.
And I will say, watching the movie, I've watched it 2 or 3 times. I actually don't like the characters they added to the little thing there, but the little ensemble cast, her little warriors, her little.
Yeah.
The Scottish dude.
They're
the
very,
Native
very,
American
very
dude.
stereotypical.
Exactly.
The Native American guy is a good tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same
The
thing in
Scottish
Predator.
guy's a drunk guy that shoots stuff.
I was kind of offended by a lot of that. So I didn't like that. And I didn't think it was necessary at all. But, again, it's on there because we finally have a female superhero movie that wasn't called Barbed Wire, and it was good.
Yeah. Right. Oh God, that
You've
was
seen Barbed Wire?
no.
No, but I've
It's
heard about it.
yeah,
I don't even know
it's
how you've heard of
bad.
that. Um,
It's it,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
there's good trends with superhero movies this year, in the fact that Wonder Woman's erased the whole doubt of can there be a lead female character. Logan cemented the rated R superhero movie. Right, we had Deadpool last year, Logan this year. The rated R superhero movie is here to stay, which is good. And the fact that we can now, that I feel like we're moving beyond superhero movies, like the superhero being the genre, and
Yeah.
we're going back to the genre being crime, being spy, thriller, being horror, and it just so happens that these superhero characters can live in those genres. That's what we're moving towards, and that's how superheroes in general are going to survive. The superhero, there may, I mean, I guess there still is that genre of
Like
the
superhero.
fantastical superhero with the powers and the beam in the sky kind of movie, but um, you can take those characters and put them in so much more. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like we might have like a superhero romance now. Seeing that we could
That-
have a Wonder Woman and Superman movie, or like
Are you
Black
wanting a
Widow.
superhero romance movie, Jacob?
They were saying that Ant-Man
Are
and
you wanting
Wasp is going to be
A
the
rom com?
yeah, Jacob
Yeah.
loves the rom coms.
You love a rom com?
a Sue
Yeah, I like
rom-com.
rom-coms.
That
Yeah,
would be
soup
cool for
rom-com.
Ant Man and
No,
Wasp.
that's
That would
what
be cool.
that's what they said with Ant-Man and Wasp, because they were all talking about how in Ant-Man it was going to be the first superhero comedy, and it was comedy, but I wouldn't say it was a
Yeah.
pure comedy. But now they're saying this is going to be a rom-com,
Rom-com.
Yeah.
a superhero rom-com.
That
So
would
I
be
mean,
awesome.
That would
they're
be cool.
completely doing the things we wouldn't think they would do, just like they did with Thor Ragnarok. So I think we should head on to our next not our next category, our next movie, and this is something
Everybody's
they
seen.
watch.
This is more of
but
an
not
alter
me.
ego.
Yeah.
This is a movie I want to see really badly, but I can't. It's called Baby Driver, and I'll let you guys take this
Baby
over.
Driver changed my life.
Really?
It was good.
Like it was so remarkably good.
Yeah.
And the reason it changed my life is because I'm a big music geek,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it is the best non-musical use of music I've ever seen in a movie since like Blues Brothers Car Chase.
Yeah.
Remarkable. It helps that it starts with the song Bell Bottoms by the John Spencer's Blues Explosion, who I happen to enjoy, who I listened to when I was a kid. Ugh! And it's all timed, and the
Yeah.
cocking of every gun, and he's walking down the street. He's walking through Atlanta, which helps me. And a guy that I follow on Instagram did the paintings, did the graphics,
Oh, nice.
and I was like, I know that art. Like it was cool, like it so cool. The story follows Baby, the main character, who only goes by Baby, who had a tragic event in his life and is now the driver for a bunch of criminals who
Yeah.
rob people in various
I
ways.
mean, like one
Wonderful.
criminal. Like
Well,
a
yeah, he's the
criminal
criminal
mastermind.
who was Kevin
Kevin
Spacey,
Spacey.
which also works because he's so despicable.
Yeah.
So
He looks
Even
despicable.
more
In
this
real
year.
life too.
I
Apparently.
would not want to be his granddaughter. He'd be like, "Hello, how are you doing
All right.
today?"
Jacob, too far. So that movie as well, I would say is a if you are interested in making movies.
Yep.
That is a movie that you study for the pure art of how that was put together, regardless of the story and everything else. There's so many things from, the way that the music was timed, the editing, the characters and their function in the story. I mean, each character, I don't know if you notice, has a specific color. Those colors have meanings. I mean, there's great videos on YouTube, and if I can put in the show notes, I will. But they break down, how Baby Driver is constructed, and then on top of that, you have a fun movie.
Yeah.
But Edgar Wright put on a clinic on
Just-
how to
yeah.
make a movie. It felt like some buddies kind of sitting around. It's like, oh, this would be cool. This would be cool. And
And
he
then
took
they
that
did.
and he made the movie, and it was awesome.
yeah, and it had those nods to me for like mid '90s Quentin Tarantino, but happier.
Yeah, yeah,
And I like that because the mid '90s Tarantino kid that I was, who was watching all this cynical stuff, still got his cool music that he got from Quentin.
yep.
And had a fun movie. It's cool. Just awesome stuff. I recommend it to anybody over the age of, how old are you guys? 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 years old.
There you go.
What
Okay.
about the 15 and 16?
Yeah, well, skip a year. I don't know. Watch something else.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
So let's get on to our next category, which is comics.
Who has a? I didn't have a comic, so you have a comic and you have a comic.
And I do.
Yeah,
He
so
has a comic.
so I'll do mine real quick. So, comics, we all love comics up here. I think other than Jacob, we all read them a little bit more actively.
Whatever.
Not really. Not
yeah.
for me.
See,
So
it's not just me.
this year for me was more of a catch-up year, and I'm kind of at a
Me too.
crossroads here because I think I might just rip off the Band-Aid and just jump and read my current stuff, and then slowly start to catch up on some of my older stuff because I'm never gonna catch up at this point. Um, but one of the books that I caught up on this year was Miss Marvel, and it was one of those things where as I was reading it, I could just feel that this was a seminal book. This was amazing.
Yeah.
On so many different levels. Um, and I've talked about it before. I think I talked about it on the last show. It's most definitely, even if you're not a comic book person, it's such a great book. Um, there's just the stuff that she goes through with her family and school and trying to balance it all together, and the character that she is. It's wonderful. Highly, highly recommend it.
It
Okay.
feels like the new Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
Like-
I'm gonna say mine now, and I can't. I haven't read the series, but I've read bits and pieces of it, and I really liked it. It's called X-Men Blue. It's basically all the young mutants that they brought back through the time machine, or whatever it was. Have
Yeah.
it's their team, the X-Men Blue team. It's
and
different.
alternate universe
Wait.
Wolverine's son.
Are they from
That
the
part I don't
future
like.
or the past?
That part I don't. No, it's from the.
It's the
Past.
actual X-Men
Past.
team from
Oh, the
1960 something.
It's
Oh, yeah,
so
Not
like
an alternate timeline.
Xavier,
No.
Beast.
The kids. The
Yeah.
No, it's the
Oh,
kids.
the kids.
It's like Jean and
Oh, Jean.
Iceman, Beast,
Yeah, Cyclops.
Angel, and Cyclops.
Yeah.
But it's
But-
the actual one.
So
not an
this
alternate
time,
Okay.
Jean's the leader, and I liked how they did that. Other than the fact that Scott's definitely the leader. Jean's the leader now, and that kind of pushes Scott out of the way, and his personality is still kind of overruling as the leader. So I liked that, and I also liked how they're kids, and I love every superhero kid book, so that's awesome.
No.
And I just like how they.
Go ahead.
I like how they mix all that all together.
I still have a problem with the fact that they stayed. Right? I mean, they had that one story where, because they brought him back from the past with a purpose.
Yep.
Right? Scott Summers was going crazy. He had the whole X on his face. He was way off in the deep. And Beast said the only way we can shake him up is by bringing back the younger X-Men to remind him of who he used to be. Okay, that's great. But when that story is over, send them back to the past. How do you keep
Exactly.
them without destroying the timeline and the whole space-time continuum?
That I don't understand how it didn't just completely obliterate the timeline. Because I know that I somewhat understand time travel because there's so many like space-time continuum and time. It's crazy, but I guess I think of time too linear.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how didn't the X-Men get pulled into the future? Like the current X-Men, if the time rotates, then how come when they were kids didn't get pulled into the future?
Well, did they ever? So the one thing for me, time travel is one of my favorite things in all of sci-fi.
Right.
Yeah.
But in order for me to buy in, you have to set your rules and stick to them.
Yeah.
Right? And then the rules could be different. Right? There's the whole, time is linear and whatever you do in the past is going to ripple forward. There's the whole, if you go back in time and do something, you're going to create an alternate timeline that all those timelines are coexist. I mean, there's plenty of different versions.
I imagine that's what's happened here. So they pulled. So Kieran, the answer to your question is, there aren't consistent rules in Marvel, but they're moving here, doesn't disrupt the current reality at all.
But what
Because
I
time's
guess
folded on itself. It's complicated stuff.
I guess what I'm saying is if we have the kid X-Men, right, and they were
they
those
never grew up. Is what you're saying.
They were those people, right? So if you
Just-
pulled them from the past, wouldn't they be pulled from the past too? In the past?
I mean, so
This is
That
confusing.
makes
We
no
should
Yeah.
sense.
we should just
I can't
get off
explain
this
time
topic.
travel to you. It
I
doesn't
mean,
make-
somebody's hand had to have disappeared. As they would just be sitting there in the future, and then one day they'd see their hand disappear. And
I
like,
think if we took a picture of them in 1963, they would just realize, Kieran, that they would be like 70 years old.
Yeah.
True. Okay, so let's get on to the next topic before this gets really weird.
Oh, it got weird.
Yeah.
I'll leave for a minute. You guys
Sorry.
Image, right?
Sorry,
disrupt time.
Image. This is Image. This is my
So I
dad's
put
thing.
this one on the list because I don't read Marvel comics really anymore.
Oh,
I talk about them on here and I read them in passing, but I don't ever sit down with a stack of books and read Marvel or DC Comics. I literally go to a Doc's Basement or Heroes locally and ask them to give me weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I get some really strange stuff. So I don't do the adult weird stuff because that gets really weird. But Image Comics has obviously got big heavy hitters like Saga, which is on like issue 36, I think, and
Yeah.
is doing really super well. But I am a fan of the new ones, Seven to Eternity by Rick Remender and Jerome Apina. If you haven't read that, you should. And Paper Girls, which is by Brian K. Vaughan, who we are all fans of on
You've told
up
me
here.
about
Yay,
Paper
Brian.
Girl.
Paper Girls is Stranger Things in a comic book where all the characters are girls. They travel in time instead of control things with their mind. It's awesome. It's Brian K. Vaughan's commentary on kind of getting what you wish for and where you're going to be when you're an adult one day.
Yep.
And seeing it instead of dreaming about what's going to happen, they actually travel in time and actually get to experience themselves as 40-year-olds and see what actually happened. Seven to Eternity is the new Hobbit. It's stupid good. It is amazing. The basic premise is there's this guy called, I think he's the Mud King, and he can grant whatever wish you want. It's a stupid name, but it's got nothing to do with it. I know it's horrible, but he and there was some these kind of like otherworldly monk kind of guys, and he can grant whatever wish you want for yourself, but he gets to see through your eyes forever.
Oh, wow.
That's
So it's
gross.
basically you agree. No,
That's
not
not
like
gross.
that.
That's
You
like-
agree to be mind controlled, but you get everything that you ever want.
Yeah.
But
So he's basically convinced this entire planet that everybody can live in a utopian way.
Sees everything they see, so you have a ton of spies.
oh,
Right.
Yeah. So he.
oh, I thought like mind
So you're not
control.
mind controlled zombies. You are.
Yeah.
He is privy to all your secrets.
He has ultimate knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Heck no.
So as he gains
I would be
more,
fine without stuff.
well, right.
But you know what?
Well,
I mean,
it's easy to say that though.
yeah, but that's a commentary on where we are today, where people are giving away their civil liberties and their privacy for convenience.
Yup.
You know, I mean, think about it, we all like. I mean, as much as I love like home automation, we have Alexas all over the house. You know, people are worried. Hey, Amazon's collecting all this information. They're listening and all. They know all about our lives. But it's so convenient that I can say, "Hey, Alexa, turn off the house light."
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think there's some political commentary being made there
Yep.
about the Mud King. I mean, he's the Mud King.
Why does he have to be called the Mud
Because
King?
it's dirty and grimy, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know. man.
exactly.
But anyway, your character is this flawed. Your main character is this flawed guy who they've lived off the radar, off the grid, and they can't be found by the Mud King because he can't see anyone near them.
Right. And
It's amazing.
And that's always the best science fiction finds a way to make commentary on it, on things in our real life, because they can create a scenario that is just never going to happen. But once you put that situation in place, then you can really like dig deep on certain topics, and that's what Seven to
Yeah, I know. I think all of us in some way create. We always end up talking about diversity in comics, and I think that for lack of a better way to say it, where a white guy finds diversity in comics is by being able to look at a different lens.
Yeah.
From another person. It doesn't have to be race. Good science fiction does it by putting you on an alien planet with some dude calling the Mud King and trying to mind control you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's true, and it's just like Asimov's robot stuff from the 50s. It's just the same stuff. It's amazing. I mean, Rick Remender is a god of writing, and should look into it.
And the other thing I'll add on to this is, you know, I grew up into the whole Image thing. I mean, Images hit their 25th anniversary this year. I was knee deep in comics when Image started. I was all on board with the Image 7. There is a great documentary on AMC. It's actually a series. It's called AMC Visionaries: The Secret History of Comics. And one of the episodes was about Image Comics, and they go into explain the Image 7, how they broke away from Marvel, and I guess it was just Marvel, to start Image. But really, it's the foundation for the Image Comics that we have today. because
Walking Dead.
yeah, because they created a safe space for creators to go and tell these stories and get their stories out there without losing ownership and without losing creative control. It's like the ultimate place for creators to be creators. And out of that, we've gotten such amazing work. That's and Image is just thriving today on all of that. So highly recommend if you really want to understand what Image is, watch that AMC Visionaries, and then that'll lead you right into some of the stuff that Kyle was talking about.
And if you're our age, if you're Andres and ours age, and remember that, and maybe think you're too old to pick up Marvel or DC where you left off, Image is a good way to find a multiple set of universes where you don't have to worry about multiverses.
Right, good
and
stories,
stuff.
just
Good
really
stuff.
good stories.
So wait, I have one question. Even though the Mud King like resembles dirtiness and stuff, why couldn't it be like the Mind Reader King or like
Oh, that's even worse.
I don't know.
The
man.
Mind
I don't
Reader
know.
or
King?
like or like just like rip off the Watcher or like something like that?
He's I don't. And I wish I could. He looks like Zorn
Oh, nice.
Oh,
from
Zorn.
X-Men. He looks kind of like Zorn.
Oh.
He looks a lot like Zorn.
Well, you know what, Jacob? Why don't we get Rick Remender on the show? You can just ask him.
We'll just
Yeah.
get Rick Remender on here, and we'll.
I'll call him right now.
What? You need to
Hey
Well-
Siri, what's Rick Remender's phone number?
just go on Instagram and follow him or something, and we'll find him.
Yeah.
So So we read the books. It's cool. It's Star Warsy. It's I don't know. It's funky.
I still feel like I would do it, but then I would instantly regret
Just
it.
a different name. I get you.
But like,
And one of his sons is called like the Whisper King or Whisper or something like that. I forget.
what's his powers?
Oh no.
He sends out these whispers. It's crazy. It's cool.
That's
it's very.
creepy.
It's super creepy. Oh, it's a creepy book.
Okay, let's wrap this up again before it gets really weird.
And Jacob keeps going off on tangents.
Okay, so are we
No,
gonna
I'm
do
thinking
the
of
whole
if I
wrap
wanna
up
do it.
thing
You
where
need
we
to- but
each
you're
call
interested.
out?
You should read the
What is
book.
it?
Who wants an Alexa now? I
All right, Jacob,
Who's
Okay,
Whisper?
so let's
This is
each
just-
call out. Is that right?
sign off.
Sign off.
Amazon's
Okay.
just like the Mud King.
He's still going.
Jake.
Here.
Give me $60.
Come back.
Okay, sorry.
We're done.
Okay, so Dad, you want to go first?
I'm signing off, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm Kyle. I'm at J. Kyle Wood, and again, you'll be able to find us at Alter Ego Pop Talk as part of the Pop Talk Network soon
This is on Instagram, by the way.
on Instagram. Sorry.
Yeah. I am Jacob KJSL. Do we have an FPM Play Instagram yet?
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
What is it called? FPM Play
FPM
Podcast?
Play.
It's just
Play.
FPM
Oh,
Play.
so look us up on FPM Play. Me and Kieran will be running it, but Kieran will be running most of it.
The
Um,
Instagram.
Yeah, the Instagram. I'll be doing the Snapchat because I do Snapchat also. So yeah, and one more thing. So on Snapchat I'm Kid JCell. On Instagram I'm Kid JCell. Kid JCEL. JCell is my initials. Kid JCEL. Kid JCell.
Kid J Cells. Kid J Cells.
Kid JCell.
Okay, I'm gonna sign off now. I am at Marvel Logogram on Instagram. You can also follow my personal at Kierwood5, and we are going to have the Instagram page, as he said, FPM Play. Subscribe to our YouTube, which is Pop Talk Network. You're probably watching it right now, and I'm gonna send it over to Andres.
Yep, and tell your friends, tell everybody. So our new website should be up in the new year. It's poptalknetwork.com, and that's where you'll find all the shows. You'll be able to find Alter Ego. You'll be able to find FPM Play, and we have a lot of mini shows. We've actually recorded a few grudge matches. So those will be coming out. So you'll be able to subscribe to the individual shows, or if you want all the Pop Talk Network stuff, you'll be able to get it all in one feed as well. So go to poptalknetwork.com and you'll be able to find us all, and I'll have all the links to everybody's social media stuff there as well. All right.
Well, this is FPM Play. Thank you for listening or watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
See you next year.
Next year.
Next year. I mean, we might have some other episodes between.
Happy 2018.
Happy
We
2018.
might have some mini
Hashtag first.
episodes, but next real episode will be in 2018.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
And